So let's roll back to Charles Spearman. So he was pretty pro G, if you will, but he also realized that there was something missing. So he showed that there were positive correlations between different intellectual abilities. So what this graph is kind of showing you is a brief scatter plot of a positive correlation, and this is a perfect correlation. Notice how those dots are all in a straight line. That's not how individual measures of intelligence are, though. They kind of look more like this, which is still positive because it's still kind of trending upward. But what he's noticing is that individuals who are better at one task aren't necessarily better at it than others. So for instance, like you have, let's say right here is some sort of score on the y-axis. You've got some people that are here, some people that are here. So these people all scored the same thing on the y, but scored very different things on the x. It's not a perfect correlation like this. So Charles Spearman invented a technique called factor analysis, which we're not going to get into super here, but just as a teaser, it's this analysis that aims to determine relationships between different areas, kind of trying to pull out the common factors that explain your data. So for instance, he might look at a correlation like this and say like, okay, there's a factor right here that might determine this clustering of data points. And maybe there's a separate factor that depends on this, or that determines this. So he used this logic of factor analysis and created what we call Spearman's two-factor theory. And he realized that general intelligence, G, can't explain everything. So he showed that every task that you have requires a combination of two things: underlying general intelligence, G, but also skills that are specific to that task, or S. So he decided, or he suggested that in order to be successful at something, you need to have underlying general intelligence, but you also need to have certain factors that make you good at that thing. So let's do an example just to kind of make that more concrete. So let's say this little boy, his name is Timmy. Let's say he's really generally intelligent. So he has a high G. Let's say this means, Timmy is pretty good at academic things. He's good at the math. He's good at the verbal reasoning and whatnot. But does that mean he's necessarily good at everything, like creative things? As we talked about before, not necessarily, right? Let's say little Timmy's task is to sing, become a really good singer. Is his general intelligence enough to make him a really good singer? Not really, right? I mean, like, I personally score pretty well on things like math, but I can't sing for crap. Like I literally, it's not my thing. So there's got to be some other factors that go into this. You might think of things like being able to distinguish pitch, or have rhythm, or be able to follow, a certain beat. These are skills that you also need to have and be good at in order to do a specific task. So Spearman's two-factor theory is saying that in order to be good at this task, you need both general intelligence, the ability to reason, pick up things, think through things, but also task-related skills.